Is it really the case that new regime means new laws, new policies, and new people to manage Ghana's economy? Are you satisfied with the way policies and laws are being implemented in the country? Well, no need to worry as Policy Dex fills you in with socio-economic and political issues that needs attention to drive Ghana's developmental agenda. My name is Winston Nitaki and I'll be your host on Policy Dex. Join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 p.m. as we dig deep into issues of national interest. My name is Winston Nitaki. We come to you live on BTA. We are also streaming live on our Facebook page as well. So if you're watching us, you have access to the internet. Just log on to facebook.com/business television africa.com, or you can also follow my page on Winston Taki, and definitely you have live streaming on our Facebook page. We are also live on our website as well on www.businesstv.africa.com. You're watching us across the nation. This is your most comprehensive issue discussed for your own objective. And this evening, we're touching a very important, critical aspect of our transformation as a nation. There were times that doing businesses and movement in the country were limited because then horses, camels, and most traditional means of transportation used to be the access for the day, where merchants mostly transport goods from one place to the other. But this time around, in the 21st century, we live in a contemporary time where transportation and most of the trade facilitation are done either by air, by sea, by land, and other means possible. But this evening, we're touching a very critical topic that has to do with the transport industry facilitating trade and commerce in Ghana. What is the state of the transport industry? This and many more we're going to be discussing this evening right here on Policy Deck. So let's go for the mini documentary. When we come back, we'll jump straight to the discussion. Stay tuned. The provision of infrastructure and operations in all modes of transport in Ghana are dominated by the state, except in the case of road transport, the public sector, and inland water transport. The road transport is very important to the Ghanaian economy. It is estimated that road transport accounts for 96% of passenger and freight traffic in Ghana and about 97% of passengers miles in the country. Road transport in Ghana may be categorized into four main segments, namely urban, express services, rural, urban, and rural. The demand for urban passenger transport is mainly by residents commuting to work, school, and other economic, social, and leisure activities. Most urban transportation in Ghana is by road and provided by private transport including taxis, minibuses, and state-supported bus services. By road transport, buses are the main mode of transport, accounting for about 60% of passenger movement. Taxis account for only 15.5%, with the remaining accounting for the private cars. One important trend in road transport is that there has been a shift from minibuses towards medium and large cars with capacity of 30 to 70 seats. There has been a growing preference for good buses as the sector continues to offer more options to passengers in terms of quality of vehicles used. Therefore, it can be well justified that the fate of the transport industry can positively or negatively affect trade and commerce in the country. Join us on Policy Deck tonight. Enjoy. That will do. Welcome back to the show, and this is Policy Dex, your most exclusive political, let me say, informative discussion from objective perspective. So we advise that if messages and comments should be sent, it should be objective as well. We don't take political discussion, we don't take partisanship here. So when you are analyzing an issue as important and sensitive as the transport sector, let's make sure that we are circumspect in our opinions. So we'll be taking your messages through the WhatsApp line on 0206 583 547. You can also, in the course of the program, we'll be activating the phone lines where you can phone in and let us know the state of the transport sector in most parts of the region. Some have said that originally there's been diversification in terms of what is most appropriate in which rural area and which urban area. What is the condition in your area, in your region, and in your district? Let us know, and how best we could improve by ensuring that we have more implementable policy directions towards ensuring that commerce and facilitation of trade amongst regions. And let's see, before we get to the African ECOWAS region, how best Ghana can play a critical role in ensuring the border initiatives are well coordinated. This evening, I'm privileged to have an expert. Like I always say, this is where we bring you the best expert in the field in which they are good at. It goes by the name Mr. Cecil Garbrah. He's a transport consultant with me here in the studio, going to take us through an awesome, educative conversation. I'm sure you'll be enjoying it this evening. I will as well. So let's just stay tuned to the discussion right here on Policy Dex. Mr. Cecil, good evening.
Good evening.
Welcome to Policy Dex.
Thank you.
Awesome. Like we always say, we thank God that we have life, and once there's life, there's hope. And for God and country is why we are here. Now, how critical is the whole transport sector? Basically, let's start with the transport sector. What really constitute transportation? Because we keep hearing the terminology. Some might know that this is a transport, but what means of transportation will you say is appropriate, or what we qualify as transportation in Ghana?
Thank you so much. When you talk about transportation, then of course you are looking about so many areas. You are looking at road transport, you are looking at railway transport, you are looking at air, you are looking at sea, and then this honestly is the main area, and it is all about transporting goods and services from one point to the other point, as well as human beings. In Ghana, most of the transport system is based on road transport. I'll say 99% of goods and services in this nation is all by transport. And I'll just tell you for the fact that you never came here by train, did you?
No, at all.
Yes, we all came by vehicles, and we've been stuck in traffic. We'll go through stress, we go through pains and so on before we get here. So 99% is rather based on road transport. If you look at the railway system, in fact, some of us were quite happy when His Excellency President Nana Akufo-Addo said to all of us that he has appointed a railway minister to look at the railway system, right? Because that is also long overdue. In Ghana, we have the single lane rail track, and it's just unbelievable. If you compare Ghana, I'll say Netherlands to Ghana, right, where I had a whole tour, 2 weeks tour. In fact, when I got back to Kutuka International Airport, I was full of tears, because they have really utilized what they have in terms of both rail, the water system, as well as the land system. If you could go back to history, you remember the sea took away almost the whole of Netherlands. But today, when you go, it will be quite amazing that they are using both boats to transport, as well as the rail system, as well as the trams system. And I look at my country and I say, look, we have everything here. We have sea, we have water, we have land. We have land to have good roads. We have land to have good railway system. So generally, if you ask me about the transport system, it is rather based on road transport than of rail. If you come to look at air, It's also catching on, especially with the local trips from Accra, Kumasi, Takoradi, but then it should be all capitals, right? Although I know the aviation companies will say, oh, when I travel from here to, let's say, Ho, to not generate any income. But if it is all round, and people will also, Ghanaians will patronize, because, I mean, if I'm going to Kumasi, there's no point of me driving from Accra to Kumasi, because I know I may be involved in an accident, because if you look at the road system, I always say, and I'll be fair to you, that every morning I lift my brother and we chat a lot, and we say out of 10 drivers in Ghana, 5 of them are mad. And when I mean mad, I'm not talking about mad of taking off their clothes, but then if you look at how we drive in this country, you ask yourself so many questions. Why should people drive on the shoulders? Why do we misbehave on the road? So generally, the transport system is in Ghana is made up seriously of the road transport, which is about 99% that carries goods and services than any other thing that we could look at.
What an awesome way to put it. Could you kindly enlighten us about your experience in Netherlands, and before we come to Ghana's case, because you made mention of the Netherlands one time being flooded and they had to lose a lot of assets in the country. So the speed of transformation that has brought them into a point where they've interconnected all transportation sectors to make it quite vibrant. What is there that you expect that should Ghana really implement will transform the outlook of our economy?
Thank you so much. This is about 5 years ago. I was invited because of this, my mouth, that I talk a lot, right? And then I happened to meet the Minister of Transportation there. In fact, when I was going, I picked up my suit. I thought, yes, I was a big man. But then the minister came in a bicycle, rode a bicycle, parked it, and I was seeing him. I didn't know that he was a minister. And I was at the train station, and then I had put on shoes. He was in sneakers. And he welcomed me and said, okay, first trip, we are traveling to, like, from here, I've forgotten the towns anyway, from here to Kumasi. I said, oh, really? Okay. So I thought we were going to spend like 4 or 5 hours. We are going by train. You will not believe me, 45 minutes we were in Kumasi. Awesome. And this was a very serious train that used electricity, okay? Had some pictures, maybe later on I'll let you have it. And then on my way, there wasn't anything like traffic, of course. Everything was quite very easy. We got to Kumasi, he showed me around the train system. We came back within some short period of time, and I realized that we had made a whole 250 to 30 to 300 kilometers and back. Right.
Just a short memory.
Just a short time. And then I asked myself, one, the minister did not come with any 4x4 with any siren, as compared to Ghana, where a minister would drive on the shoulder of the road or drive in the middle of the road with
motorcade and
if not motorcade, his own vehicle will be making a lot of noise with blinkers red and black to say, yes, the minister is coming. I mean, I asked myself, this is very different. Right. Then I visited also their police sort of headquarters. You will not see any policeman in town. They are all watching monitors. And the policeman will come to town and you hear any siren, then they are going to make an arrest. Okay. They have the tram system. The tram system is working, right? As compared to Ghana, for instance, you pick up the ring road, you look at the ring road and you ask yourself, why this big island? Kwame Nkrumah had a vision for Ghana. The vision was to run trams like from La to Circle. Okay, and trams, I'll put it that way, are also trains, but they don't move faster. They move like the trotro system. Okay, and I mean it was just so
automatic
nice.
in its nature. Or
It's being controlled. It's being controlled. It's just a train, but it's, I'll say, the commercial sort of transportation. I'll say, let me say the trotro system, because it will stop at various places, but it will get on. And then it carries a lot more of people, over 200 people.
Wow.
Okay, so just imagine that we had a tram system running from Tema, the motorway island, coming to the shopping mall area, or continuing to Tetekwashi, and then coming to Sankara overpass. Then you and I will stop and then walk easily to this place. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So practically, if you want good engineers all over the world, I think you should go to Netherlands, because even at the Schiphol airport, okay, I'll say there's a boat system that runs underground it.
Wow.
Right, which means that when the sea took away the whole town, they made sure that at least they would siphon some seawater to have their boat system being run. So the boat is running. On top of it, you have the train system, and then again you have the tram system, one land, and finally you have the Schiphol airport. And if you come out from the boat system, you'll be so scared if you are just Johnny Come Fresh. Because if you raise up your head, you see a big plane and you think it's a plane crash. But then here, what happens? We have the big island. We are not utilizing the island. Let's go back to what Kwame Nkrumah did. And I'll tell you the fact that my late dad was a land surveyor. Okay. And we have pictures where he stands with Kwame Nkrumah to chart way to talk about the road network and so on. Where has it gone now? Our road network is so poor. We have only less than 3 million vehicles in Ghana. But look at the traffic that we go through. I leave off the sprinters by 6 o'clock. If I don't set up, then it means I'm stuck.
Indeed.
And then if you calculate the issue on productivity which is lost, you ask yourself, why am I living in Ghana? That's why we have a lot of people also traveling outside.
We'll get to the traffic situation and the road network in Ghana shortly. But, you know, you made mention of historically Kwame Nkrumah's time and the plans he had. Are you telling us that the case for Trump, that is getting the Trump in Ghana for the system of transportation, it was then, or it still is, a policy in our archives at the moment?
I haven't seen it, but I do believe that it is in the archives. And if we bring it back, it is going to work. And I blame politicians. I blame politicians. They all travel, they see what I'm talking about. Even in South Africa, they have improved the system. And if you look at Ghana with all their talents, we have all the so-called big men. They travel, go and see it. They come, oh yes, we are going to do it. And where are we? We get stuck. If an allocation is given to, let's say, Department of Urban Roads, obviously to be reduced. They will think of taking part of the money to, do some other work, let's say at Nyami Adum or Michirimeko or somewhere else, which for me, it is not too important than what they need to do. So you will realize that if you go again to a place like Feeder Roads, Department of Urban Roads, we have the men that work, but we are not using them because of budgetary allocations purposely for the road network. I'll give you another good example, like Tetekwashi. Right, Tetekwashi's plan was changed during the Kufuor government, and I must be honest with you, and that is why today we are suffering there. Right, if you look at the original plan, okay, drivers driving from, let's say, airport police area towards the Spinters area would have gone to another overpass. And then those coming from Spinters will not struggle in that little roundabout. Okay, today I'm so grateful that during those days I led not a demonstration or an uprising, but the people living around the Spinters area were so mad with the one logo line sort of.
Yeah, that Spinters Road stretch is really
precisely.
Appalling. It's a serious stretch that anytime you have business transactions,
forget about it.
That is true.
You cannot plan any trip on the Spinters Road. It doesn't work because we don't have any access road adjoining the Spinters Road, and that's one basic fact which we need to talk about in terms of having a lot more of access roads in this country. And then I was quite happy that residents supported this idea, including the late Atta Mills. And then we had meetings on what to do and so on. And then I remember I brought in the Department of Urban Roads, late Didi Daku also. And after speaking to him, he said, okay, right, what else do you think? And I said, look, we have a whole place that we can put another road to reduce the traffic, and this is the overpass. Okay, and I'm glad that they did the overpass. In fact, people were saying, oh, that overpass should have been named after me. And I said, well, it is not necessary. So some of the discussions come, and we all have to put our head together in solving some of this problem. But then, back to the issue, Kwame Nkrumah had very good plans. And I do believe that if the engineers and not engineers, the politicians had followed it, I am sure Ghana will be free now.
You know, I was wondering one particular project that I'm sure all of us are aware of. That has to do with the case of Cecil overpass. Because when the construction started, I asked a journalist, one work you have to always do is monitor to see what is really at hand before you speak or analyze it on any show. So I took the time to go through the process, visit the AMA and saw the plan. And one thing that surprised me a little bit has to do with the foundation. The foundation has been there for centuries. All they needed to do was just to build the concrete upon it, and that will be the pillars for the road to be on it. All the foundation for which the road was built, the bridge was built on it, were there since Nkrumah's time. So I wondered, if these plans were existing all this while, why do we have to consistently politicize most of our transformation, things that will benefit, transform the outlook of Ghana for a better place?
Well, just like you say, I mean, I don't want to enter politics, but
yes,
the real fact is that, you know, Accra had already been put on paper. And then that's one major problem that we have in this country, that if we have party A, party B coming on, a party will say, oh yes, I did this, I did that. Well, we don't have any national policy. If we have a national policy of continuation, then it means that if party A leaves and party B comes, he will just continue. And then we will not be boastful to say, oh, I did this road, I constructed these buildings like we see. Okay, Ghanaians deserve all this infrastructure. It shouldn't be a case where people will say, I mean, politicians will say, I did this, I did that, this is not important. We should have a national plan and follow the national plan, so that if you and I become maybe the next political party, we'll just continue as this is for Ghana. Okay, and that will solve the problem. Okay, so I believe with this current government, that should be something which must be standardized, to say that yes, this is what we are looking for in terms of the way forward. We should continue. Okay, if a building is stuck, it shouldn't be an issue to say that, oh, because NDC did it, we MPP, we are not going to follow it. It's the country that will suffer. It's people that will suffer. It's just like we say, two elephants are fighting, and then who suffers? Of course, it's the grass. We will suffer. So the best thing for us to do is that we need to advise the politicians that, hey, look, after all, you will, debate in parliament, and then you go out, and they are friends. Most of them are friends. They are parties. But we are suffering, right? So policies must be put in place, and there should be a continuation for politicians to follow the track. So if Kwame Nkrumah says that the ring road, the central island, was left for a purpose, I think the best thing we need to do is to go and pick up documents from archives and then follow up. And now today, look at what is happening in this world. We have electric trains, we have locomotive is passed. We could run, and I am talking about the tram system, that the tram system will be very effective. And then we talk and less action. For example, look at the bus rapid transit system. And I'll say it here, it's a hopeless venture. It's an expensive venture that cannot be achieved in this country because we do not have the roads, that's the segregated roads that the vehicles, the buses must use. And these are very expensive buses, Marco Polo buses. If you know where it's coming from, then you should know that they are very expensive. And I'm saying that very soon it will all be turned to trotro. Okay, just like Metro Mass transit bus system is doing, because we do not have the roads. We do not have segregated roads, right? I'll send you some pictures, and then, I mean, if you go on the internet, you see what I'm talking about, segregated roads. If 4 or 5 lanes are choked, there's this one lane that the buses are using, and then they are passing, and then they are driving not so fast, at a moderate speed. And if you sit in your car and you look at the buses, nobody will tell you that next time, park your vehicle and go by bus.
Okay, you know, we'll delve much into the Ghana's road network and the quality of road, what goes into having a better road in Ghana, what kind of investment, how to raise funds for financing road systems in Ghana, because consistently we've had conversation about private agencies constructing roads, the need for localizing the local content in construction roads, and also international collaborations to make and partnering with private sector. What goes into consideration before giving a road contract to an agency? Because there were times that the value of roads became debatable in the country as to the quantification, the construction, the time frame, and all of them were taken into consideration. In Ghana's case, how do we get quality on our roads? No more potholes and better quality.
Well, it's interesting. When you look at road construction, especially in the urban areas, let me pick the urban areas. Now, what happened during the elections, you wake up, and you and I saw it. You sleep, you wake up, tomorrow morning they have tarred the road in front of you. And then you ask yourself, I mean, how can this be? Is it by magic? They are working day and night, and then you could see foreign contractors doing it. I've always been against the issue of bringing in foreign contractors, because we have construction companies here that can do better. And then in the construction of roads, I'll give you an example like the motorway. You go on the motorway, and the motorway is almost destroyed because, again, maybe you would think I'm an Nkrumahist or something, but then I have really seen documents from my late stats office that the motorway, for instance, which linked Accra and Tema, is full of concrete. And when you're talking about concrete, you're talking about metals. And then it is 8 inches, if I am right. Right, so you ask yourself, I mean, how can this happen that you have 34-kilometer road which is full of concrete? Now the concrete is being destroyed. Who built it at that time? And then the history says it was then Kasajan that built the motorway. Where's Kasajan now? I'm sure it's gone down the drain, but all the same, if you look at the quality of roads that are being built right now, there's always a question mark. Right in front of my office, it was tarred, and then there are potholes coming on it. So you ask yourself, who are the engineers? And of course, we have the engineers looking at the, I mean, if there are foreign contractors even constructing this road, we have our local engineers checking to find out whether it's the right specifications. But again, don't blame the local engineer, because he's being overlooked by the politician to say, look, whatever it is, accept this. I mean, they are coming from this country, it's an aid, or it's a support. Why are we relying on aids all over? And if we have materials, we have everything to build a road, why can't we look at a system of asking the contractors to put in their tender, and then naturally, if you have won because of A, B facts, give the contract to them, than looking at the issue of even sole sourcing. And that is what has ended up in coming up with roads that are not quality, of the best quality. And again and again, like I said, who suffers? The people that will suffer.
What goes into the sole sourcing of road contract, for instance, and what are some of the challenges that contractors face in executing sole source roads, for instance?
Well, I'll say, to be frank with you, I do not know, okay, because I mean, I'm not an engineer. But then, it's a common fact for all of us to know that if they say sole sourcing, then they've gone round and round and they can't find a contractor to do that road. And that is lies. I just pray that this government will take off that portion from the procurement system that we have, so that everybody will, go into the right tender system and then win a contract on merit. Okay, that makes a lot of sense than going to pick somebody to say, yes, this are the expert, he's done this in Nigeria or he's done this in Togo, so he can do this. And that is what has really affecting us. And then you and I will know that when you talk about sole sourcing, then there's going to be a lot of money going off the side to somebody's pocket. And it's happened several times with other regimes. I pray so strongly that our current government will look at it, and if they have to revisit the situation to cancel sole-sourced business, that is going to help this country.
I ask this question because of the familiarity that Ghanaians have about roads. You know, in a day, you see the contractors bringing their tractors coming to cement or smoothing up the roads. They put the sand there, the stones there, but you never find them. You don't know the construction company that has been given. There's no notification. There's nothing like information. All you know is that the machines, the tractors are on your road ready to do a work. But you find the stands there for over 6 months. No one has come to check out those particular cases. In that instance, who should they look at for? Which agency could best be the source of information towards them guiding their decision-making process?
You see, my brother, the sad thing in this country is that a lot of people take us for granted, even our own people in Ghana, okay? Because if you talk about road construction, for instance, it comes with a lot of, steps. You can't come and dump sand and stone and then leave and go. It's against the regulations. Apart from that, the road construction company is constructing a road, and then instead of them using the right warning materials, such as reflective materials, which is painted in red and white, they rather get bamboo sticks, paint them red and white, and then Ghanaians sit down unconcerned, just look at it. Why are they sitting down? Because most of us don't know. It's just, I'll give you an example. It's just like people sitting in a trotro, and then you see the driver misbehaving, becoming recalcitrant on daily basis. The passenger doesn't know how to drive, and so he or she doesn't care. All what he knows is that, take me from Spinters, I'm going to Tetakwashi. And that comes back to the road sector, that if we have dumping of sand and stone, and we have the road contractors using wrong materials to warn us, then it means there's an institution that is not doing its work. And which institution is that? It is collaborated to say the transport stakeholders in construction, depending on the road. If it's a highway, then we know it is coming from the Department of Highways. If it is a local road in the city, then we know it is coming from Department of Urban Roads. But I come back to my point. All these are controlled by politicians, and that is why we are suffering. If Ghana will go forward, then the politicians must look at things and let us feel free as a nation. But we need to take them on task and then make sure that we have quality for whatever inputs that we are making.
Indeed. Viewers, you're watching Policy Desk tonight live on BCA. This evening we're discussing the transport industry, facilitating trade and commerce in Ghana, ensuring that we understand what goes really into getting the roads done, getting the various policies, what needs to be done. For Ghana to move forward, we are either moving by road, by air, or by sea. So on the road, we are touching much more, focusing a bit because I'm sure you and I are familiar with that system of transportation. And in your area, in your district, what is the current state of the road? What do you think needs to be done policy-wise in ensuring that things are done appropriately, but not just haphazardly? So you can send your comment to the WhatsApp line on 0206-583-547. My guest this evening is Mr. Cecil Garbrah. He's a transport consultant taking us through the remix of road construction in Ghana, and also most things, technicalities that I'm sure we are getting enlightened right here on Policy Deck this evening. So, Mr. Bo, interestingly, we've spoken about the tenet of the road construction, but now let's talk about the activities on the roads. What is the role of the Trade Union Congress, the transport unions that are supposed to be the leading frontiers when it comes to discussions about road policies, what needs to be done, what quality of license could be best acceptable on the roads, and DVLA and their activities? There are many agencies, but the key amongst them, which more almost comes to discussion, DVLA and the trade union congresses, especially the transport sectors.
I'll say we have road users. Okay, when you look at road users, you let's start from pedestrians, the drivers, and let me put it as a group that all of us are involved, okay, who are using the road. However, if you look at road transport itself, it comes with 4 important areas, which is engineering of the roads, education of you and I. When I say you and I, I'm talking about drivers, I'm talking about pedestrians. Emergency services. Emergency services covers the issue of transporting human beings from an accident point to, let's say, the hospital. And then the last E, which is on enforcement. Okay, all these 4 technical E's make up a good road transport system. But then I will ask viewers, I'll ask everybody, let's put our scorecard and say, okay, 1, engineering of roads. We've seen a lot of roads being engineered and so on, but that is not all. When you talk about engineering of roads, you are talking about blind spot areas, you are talking about street lights. You and I are paying electricity bills, and it will say 1% for street lights. What street lights do we have in the country? Are they of good quality? Go and use certain roads and you ask yourself, why are these street lights blinking? Are they so powerful? I remember when I was a little boy, that Champon time.
Yes.
Right? When you talk about street lights, in the evening we go and play under the street lights because they are so powerful. Today, fine, we have the LED system. Is the LED system working enough? The inferior lighting system that we bring into this country is not working. Do we have standards? Is Standard Board Authority working to check all these things? So there is a big question mark, and I believe that this government and Nanado's government, His Excellency Nanado's government, must address this issue. One other thing which we call the cat's eye is placed on the road, and in the evening when you are driving, you see it shiny, okay?
Yes.
Right, and these are placed in the central reserve of the road, right? Go and look at the Spinters Road, and this cat's eye, that we call it, must be forever. Within a period of 3 years, they are all gone, dead, it doesn't reflect, and you ask yourself, who put them there? Ghanaians must ask for an accountability system. Our road tolls that we have, we are paying 1 cedi if you are using a 4x4, 50 pesos if you are using a saloon vehicle on the motorways, or if you are living off the Tema, or let's say you are living far off Tema, you spend almost like 2 cedis, 3 cedis in and out. Where is the money going to? Talking about road tolls. So the transport system, road transport system is very big. If we break it down, then we can discuss it thoroughly. But then again, back to the issue on the users. You and I are the users. We have pedestrians. Talking about education, how many of us know that it is an offense for us to cross the road, anywhere, okay? People must be arrested. If you pick up enforcement, here we are. I was on a sister radio station and I was saying, why do we need a feasibility police? What are they doing? If you look at them, they are always on phones. They are always chatting in the vehicle. They are running the taxpayers, with taxpayers' money, running their vehicles, leaving the air conditioner on, causing the vehicle to be destroyed in terms of wear and tear of the vehicle. But then at the end of the day, what have they achieved? Fine, police presence, but what do they know? They're on the road, but they don't even know anything about this book, which is the road traffic regulations, LI 2180. Okay, they don't know anything about it, but they're on the road. And these are recruits. Our police school is not training them to know much about the LI 2180, but you see them on phones. And these are law enforcers. Again, talking about law enforcers, if you pick up the road, let's say from Michelle Camp coming to the motorway roundabout, every soldier, every policeman will drive in the middle of the road with the lights on, with the hazard lights on. Again, if you look at the LI, it will tell you that they are all flouting the road regulations. Who is responsible to arrest them? Driving in this country is not as sweet as it was before. Because if you are driving, then you have to turn off your music and listen to the next siren. The next siren will be most probably a policeman taking the children to school. Most probably going to the market. The military guy is attending a meeting. He feels he should be in the middle of the road. So all the laws that we have are being flouted and Ghanaians are suffering. You and I will stay in the traffic because if you try to be in the middle of the road, you will be arrested. If you get to a place like the Elwak traffic light, okay, I'm happy they've made some pavements there, but that pavement is still not working because the military and police will take up one lane, get to the traffic light. If the lights are not working and you see a policeman, the policeman will direct and say, come and pass, because you're a military person. What sort of country are we running?
You know, one thing you made mention of is the knowledge or the information in the law that makes you more advanced in terms of knowing what to do and what not to do. In instances where individuals are being asked to stop, checks on their vehicles consistently, we see that happening for the purpose of always saying that knowing things that are operations of most of the activities of armed robbers and most of the time. But in an individual's case, what does he have to do to arm themselves in terms of defending their rights as citizens of this nation?
Are you talking about drivers?
Yes, drivers.
Well, again, if you look at the LI, it tells you that the police has every right to check your vehicle at, if it's a random check. Okay, what is the police looking at? The police is looking at your vehicle itself, whether it is roadworthy. And that is why you look at the stickers and find out when was the last time you did the check. Okay, is your vehicle roadworthy, right? And then that comes to the issue of roadworthy certificates, whether they are really truthful, okay? And I know for a fact that most of them are fake. Most of them do not go through the system, but they have the stickers. And you ask yourself, how did they get the stickers? I throw a challenge to the new chief executive of DVLA to look into some of these things because it is coming from their own home. Right, again, the police is looking at your license, and then the like is saying that if the police asking for your license is lower than the rank of an inspector, it is wrong for you to hand over your license to him. It's only the inspector that can take your license. Some of these things we don't know. However, In all cases, you, the driver, must make sure that your roadworthy is okay, the insurance policy has not expired, your vehicle is in well condition. So why do you have to be scared of the police? And again, we have this reflective material on the bumper. People are saying that, oh, because I've bought a car like a Kia Sportage, which has got a reflective window, I'm not going to place the red reflector there. It is an offense. If you look at the airline, it is stated there. So we need much more education on police arrest and then police random checks to find out whatever you have in your vehicle. You cannot challenge the police to say that I am not going to do it. However, you have your rights in terms of your driving license. If you don't have it, the law says you have 24 hours to tender in your license at the nearest police station. Okay, so the police must stop harassing drivers, asking them of their driving license. And drivers must also know that you don't hand over your license to any policeman with a rank lower than an inspector.
Now, in that instance or that situation, there's this tenet, obey before complain. At that time or in that situation, how does an individual kind of defend himself?
That's why I'm saying you need to know your rights. Because, I mean, I cannot be bamboozled for me to give my license out because I have this document that I read a lot. Okay, I won't give you my license for me to go to this police station, ask of this police officer, and they will tell me that he's not in or he just left for a meeting, he's gone on road. No, the right thing must be done. And if you have flouted the road regulations and you need to be dealt with, you must go accordingly on what you need to do. You need to be given what we call a ticket. The police will have why he's arrested you, the reasons, and ask you to appear in court. I mean, that is it. So Ghanaians must also understand the system that we have and then not allow the police to bamboozle. A lot of policemen even don't know, I'm telling you, because they don't go through the proper motor traffic and transport training. If you go to the MTTD, for instance, you see the policemen in white, and people don't know that the policemen in white are the MTTD officials. They cannot wear black because when they wear black, it will be difficult for them to be seen. If they are wearing black, then they will wear their reflective vest for you to know, and it's written at the back, Ghana Police, MTT. These are experts. These are the people who know much about the law, and these are the people that we will advocate that they should come on road. However, if you speak to them, you realize that trained people are not in the system. And so that's why some of us are calling for the help of the military police to curb road crashes in this country. After all, if you look at the system, you would realize that road traffic offenses can generate a lot of funds for this country. If, for instance, you are caught talking on the mobile phone and then you are fined, let's say 250 penalty units, which is equivalent to about 600 cedis, it goes to the state. And some of us are still advocating that at least a percentage must go to the police officer, okay, to boost his morale. And that alone could stop the issue of give me 1 CD and then go and so on, right? So, talking about road safety, we have sat down, we are not doing anything, and in a country where we have vehicles less than 3 million, we have roughly 17,000 crashes with 2,000 deaths per year. Where are we going to? It's bad.
Now let's focus a bit on the accident rates in the country. Every year we keep hearing figures upon figures being given by the agency, that is the Road Regulation Agency. But you know, the fact has come to light that assessing the nature, the psychology, the competence of an individual as to whether he's worthy enough to apply our roads and the nature of the roads, at what speed limit, all these things being factored, what must we look out for? Especially what qualifies an individual to possibly apply our rules?
The law says, first of all, that you must be 18 and above, right? And I'm making it clear. People think it's 16, or you look at your son or your daughter and he's got all the physiques for him to acquire a driving license. That is wrong. It is 18, and you must be 18, and you must be physically be fit. You must be mentally be fit. For instance, our driving school, when you come and you are completing forms, you have questions like, do you have any mental disability? And in short, have you been mad before? When we say it, you find the client laughing. But it is all also through a test to find out who the client is, right? Do you have any problem where, touch wood, one leg is shorter than the other? Okay, right? Are you going to drive any disability vehicle? All those things, factors. But then, here we are. Excuse me to say, you see one armed person with a qualified driving license, and then you also see someone with one eye not seeing so well with a qualified driver's license. And you ask yourself, how did this person acquire the driving license? There's a lot more of fake licenses in the system. If you look at the driving license, our driving license is, must be renewed every 2 years. Okay, and you need to go through an eye examination to make sure that you can see very well. Is the system working? It is not working, right? The driving license that we see is being cut by the Garbrah boys. Some of them have even got the equipment, okay? And then they are selling the driving licenses, some at 4,000 cedis, 5,000 cedis, and Ghanaians are patronizing, and that's the sad part of it. The Ghanaian wouldn't like to go through the system where you go through an accredited driving school, you'll be doing 18, the law says you do 18 theory lessons, okay? And the theory lessons, you would, it's just spread, it's just so nice that you would have to even go through first aid. The first aid must be administered by an expert, vehicular fire protection, driving under the influence of drugs and alcohol. All this will be administered to you within 18 hours of theory lessons. You need to do about 50 hours of practical driving to make you a qualified driver. So let's assume that you've been through all this and then you are on the road. That alone makes you much more disciplined.
So is that why we are getting more instances where trotro drivers may become drivers in just 2 weeks because of just apprenticeship? Is there any apprenticeship issues concerning rules and who comply?
That is coming down. If you look at the past where we had a lot of dropouts, it was quite easy for them to be trotro mates, and then later on see how the master moves the car and to and fro, and then by the time you realize, the driver will tell his mates that, oh, mate, today I'm tired, so take them. Those people are the recipe for disaster, let me put it that way, okay? Fine, we cannot rule them out, but then we need to look at upgrading them. Such people cannot drive commercial vehicles because they don't have any experience. And also, you look at our driving license system, it starts from A. If you have an A, which means that you can only ride a motorbike. If you have a B, which means that you should be driving a saloon vehicle, which is not more than the weight of a 4-wheel drive, okay? Then you would move on to B2, B3, which gives you much more experience, like 2 years, 3 years, and you shift on to C. C makes you a taxi driver, okay, which means that you can pick passengers. Then, I mean, with all this, you have at least 2 to 3 years experience. Then you move on to D license. D license is still a commercial driver that can drive bigger vehicles and can drive trucks, okay, but not the long vehicle. The long vehicle takes you another 2 years. So in all, for a driver to have the license F, which is the highest grade of license, you need roughly about 8 to 9 years of good experience before you can drive the F. And then when you say F, you are talking about an articulated vehicle or a very long bus that can carry passengers. Such a driver must be so experienced, and after all, he must be so fit. He shouldn't be drinking and driving, and then so many facts. Wow. So we need to look at the system and find out whether it is working, and that is why I, for instance, know the system is not working. So we have a lot of road crashes coming in the system. If you go to trotro stations, taxi stations, okay, people are saying, we shouldn't have drinking places there. But then, what do we see? Someone will hold a bottle of water, but it is not water, put this in it. It's a serious concussion, and it's, under the seat, and then you find him sipping it before he starts moving with his passengers. Now, his passengers, are they aware that the driver has taken any alcohol? And that comes to the issue on enforcement right from the stations, where you ask the drivers to go through the breathalyzer system to test their breath to find out whether the alcohol percent in them exceeds the maximum of 0.08%. So there's a lot more that we need to look at as a country to save lives and properties. Are we doing it? Technical is working. Enforcement, is it working well? It's not working well, you and I know. But you have good policemen in the system, and then therefore they are doing very well. In education, can you educate a truck driver? He will not go and sit in the lecture hall. So my brother,
why the drivers fear police, and the police seems to always intimidate the driver. Sometimes it's something I don't really get. If all the purpose of the objective is to ensure that all lives are protected, rules are applied using appropriate policies and the right rules and regulations that guide the use of our roads, then at least there should be collaboration and there should be education in a way. But in instances where you see people are judging each other because of one becoming the predictor, the other becoming the court. So in that instance, how should we, in a way, live to get that kind of system like you experience in Canada? You don't always see police, but things are always done correctly.
It's a two-way system. The driver and then the law enforcer. The driver must, carry everything that he needs, including his driving license. His vehicle must be roadworthy. But then here we are, most of the drivers, including people who have been to school and so on, cannot even know what needs to be done on the road. So immediately you see the police, you are scared. And the police is also aware that you are scared. So he may bamboozle you. We have good policemen who will educate you. We have other bad nuts who will put some fear in you and say, okay, you don't have this, you don't have fire extinguisher, so I'm taking you to court. The fine is 700 or 800 cedis, so let's go. Obviously, the normal Ghanaian will say that, oh, let me find a way not to go to the police station by saying, okay, you please, let me give you 200 cedis, and then that is it. Right? The police may also accept it. But in this instance, it's both the giver and then the person who takes it who are at fault. Right? It is not right. And that is why I am advocating for the issue of good education, where you and I will read the LI 2180, read the Act 683, and understand what you need to do on the road, and then carry yourself properly. And that will end the issue on the fear of seeing the police, and the police also bamboozling you, and after all, going to take money from you. Some policemen, we have very good ones who will not take anything from you and rather educate you. For instance, if your one light is gone off, the policeman sees it. A very good policeman will ask you, oh, have you seen that your right light is not coming on? Maybe you have not seen it. You come out and say, oh, I haven't seen it. A policeman will tell you that, okay, the best thing is that this may cause an accident, so there's a police station here. Park your vehicle at the police station, go by public transport. Tomorrow morning, make sure that you bring your electrician to come and fix it. The policeman is helping you because with the one light, you may meet another vehicle that will crash into you. Okay? But then others will also take advantage and then, as usual, go the way and then collect money from you and then leave you to go.
Indeed.
So it's both the driver as well as the law enforcer that is necessary in this case.
Viewers, you're watching Policy Desk live on BTA. This evening we're discussing the transport sector. The industry is really broad. We're touching on you, the user, what you must do, what you must know before you comply the road, and what really goes into consideration, the challenges that drivers consistently face in Ghana. Now we'll move to a very interesting aspect that has to do with how the transport sector enhances business operations in Ghana, what really education, the most aspects that are critical for national development. You're watching us live on BTA. We are also streaming live on our website on www.businesstv.africa.com. My name is Weston Nitaki. Let's go for our first commercial break, and when we come back, we'll be activating the phone lines for you to also contribute your quota to the discussion right here on BTA. You can phone in on 030-22-211-409, 030-22-11409. You can call into the show and let us get your thoughts and opinions on this critical issue. The road sector, what is your condition? What is the condition of the road in your community, your locality? What has been some of the development that you think we need to know? So you can also let us know on the WhatsApp line on 0206-583-547. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with more. Is it really the case that new regime means new laws, new policies and new people to manage Ghana's economy? Are you satisfied with the way policies and laws are being implemented in the country? Well, no need to worry, as Policy Desk fills you in with socio-economic and political issues that needs attention to drive Ghana's developmental agenda. My name is Winston Nitaki and I'll be your host on Policy Desk. Join me every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 8 p.m. as we dig deep into issues of national interest. Policy Desk, implementation is what we advocate.
Looking for a venue for your wedding reception, conferences and retreats, outside catering, recreation? Look no further than Coconut Grove Beach Resort Hotel, located in Elmina. Coconut Grove Hotels, memories worth repeating.
You've been gone, it's an empty home. Come on back where you really belong. You are always welcome home, welcome home. You've been kept down for much too long. Stand up, please, and say I am free. Don't forget you are welcome home, welcome home. Come with me on this happy trip back to the promised land. All will be happy and gay. Come with me on this happy trip back to the promised land. All will be happy and gay. You've been gone, it's an empty home. Come on back where you really belong. You are always trip back to the promised land. All will be happy and
Coconut Grove Hotels, memories worth repeating.
Welcome back to Policy Dex Live on BTA. My name is Weston Nitake. This evening we're discussing the case of the transport industry in perspective. You can join the conversation right here on the show on 0206 583 547, and I'll be reading it live on the show. So if you're watching us from all parts of the region, let us get your messages coming through. I have one here which I'll be taking shortly. He says, please, I have used my license for 20 years and need to upgrade it to see, but they asked me to go and start like a learner. I feel it's wrong, but what is your view on this? So I think he's asking the question to that effect. He's used his license for 20 years now, and he wants to upgrade it to C, and he's asking whether he's been told to go and start it all over again as a learner, and he feels he needs your advice on that particular issue. So if you're also watching us in your homes and anywhere you are, you can send us your messages through the WhatsApp line 0206 583 547. And now the phone lines have been activated, so you can call into the show on 030 2211409 0302 11409. If you're watching us on Facebook as well, you can also get your thoughts coming through the Facebook page as well on 0302 11409. Let's get interactive here on Policy Dex. So we moved still more on the discussion. This time around, the transport sector, how it could facilitate trade activities in both the urban and also the in the cities and towns, and see how best well-connected road network could facilitate trade activities. In Canada's case that you made mention of,
Netherlands.
Yes, indeed. You said ease of movement was quick, so you were able to do things quickly. But in Ghana, what do you think we need to do? First of all, what is the nature of our businesses and how it's in relation with road network plays a key role?
If you pick the city Accra, you would realize that we have so many vehicles in Accra. If you want to transact business, then you must leave your home very early. Okay, if you don't leave very early, then it means that you become a recalcitrant driver. Okay, which means that every now and then you have to drive on the shoulder of the road or drive in the middle of the road with your hazard lights on, and so on. That's a very serious offense, right? You and I will not like to sit in trotro because of one major thing, which means that maybe the way you have dressed up in the trotro, you meet a market woman who is going to sell palm oil, and you are wearing a beautiful white shirt. It will go into it. But if you look at the system itself that we have, yes, and then ask yourself that, okay, if you have a road, if you have a vehicle, which road are you going to use? You are going to use the same road. You know, I've lived off the Sprinters road for the past 20 years, and I can give you the past history of it. That when I want to live on the Sprinters road, it will only take me 10 minutes drive from my home to Tetekwashi. At any time, there was no traffic. Now development started, people started coming to live in the area. Now it's worse because every land has been utilized, and we have people living there with the same one simple road with very few access roads now. So my major issue is on access roads. Do we have access roads? We don't have enough access roads. However, do we have flyovers? When we had the Nkrumah flyover opened, I mean, we're all happy. We gave it all sort of names, what Circle Dubai and so on and so forth. And then
yes,
I was so shy. I said, what? Why should Ghanaians celebrate over this? And then, even name it Dubai. Have you been to Dubai? I was asking people. Well, that's a different place altogether. Okay, it's a different world altogether. We can't compare this to what is in Dubai. Now, apart from that, you'll realize that the major traffic that we are having is at intersections where vehicles meet and then they have to either go to the left or right, and it becomes much more difficult, right? For instance, you set off from Tetekwashi and then you realize all the vehicles come and emerge at 37. So why can't we have a flyover? You see, that's a simple question. How much will it cost us? Because you leave your home, you want to get to work early, and then you spend 2 hours in traffic. You are stressed out totally. You go to work, you cannot do anything because you are tired. You are almost gone. You find people sleeping. That should tell you that staying in traffic alone brings productivity level quite low in this country. Now, apart from the productivity level, we are talking about fumes. Fumes of vehicles, especially diesel vehicles or older engines, can easily kill you because it is coming out with carbon monoxide, which is, a killer smoke, right? So, Ghanaians are dying, and all these are factors that we need to look out. That stress is killing us, smoke is killing us, tiredness is killing us, visibility is poor. Things are not working on our road, and we need to look at it as a people and make sure that for that fact that we have everything in place. If we have a good transport system, honestly, we will not buy vehicles. And again, outside a country like Netherlands, where you go and you not see cars on the roads. You see very few cars, and then in the morning, we have a system where speed limits are even increased and that kind of thing. This is a better country, developed country that we cannot compare ourselves to. However, we need to get there. We have the men, we have everything that can take us there, and we need to really strive for this perfection, not to catch up as such, but even to go over them.
What is your of this narrative that due to population increase, the pressure on our roads has become quite enormous? That is what is creating this traffic.
Vehicle population or human population?
Human population.
Well, of course, everybody is coming to Accra, okay, because what is happening in the regions cannot contain them. Everybody wants to tell each other that share. If we want to be okay, let's just say conquering, that kind of thing. And they get to Accra, and during Easter, during Christmas festivities, if you see they are dressing back home, obviously, if you are living there, nobody should tell you that, oh, Charlie, let me just follow this guy because he's made it. And they come to Accra, they don't have any sleeping place, and they'll just manage and sleep in front of kiosk. And that also aggravates the situation on sanitation, and then they also increase the volume of people on our roads. So that must be looked at, and I pray that the vision of this government to have one district, one factory will also keep some of them away, that they will not come to Accra. And mainly, we need to look at the segregated roads so that our Ayalolo system, our bus system, will be moving on the right track. So you and I will park our vehicles, sit in the Ayalolo, and then patronize it and make sure that at least our transport, our roads will be free of traffic. That is it. But if that is not done, continuously we will purchase vehicles. Okay, if you go to DVLA, for instance, today, I saw a lot of vehicles being registered, and they are not being registered for any purpose. Most of them are going to be used as private vehicles. And you look at the transport system, when schools are on recess, you would realize that traffic moves very easily. But then when the schools have reopened, one vehicle, you see one child in the vehicle going to school. Okay, where are our bus systems? If we have the bus system running so effectively, honestly speaking, you and I will make sure that our children will sit in the buses to school and then come home successfully with such buses. So that's really a good transport system that we are all looking up for. And then we pray that within my humble age of above 50, I will see some of these things happening before God calls me.
Indeed, we always see the best for the country. So long as we are alive, where there's life, there's hope, and we hope that all these fantastic policies and ideas will come to light. I'm sure you have some to share with us here on Policy Desk. Let us hear your thoughts on the WhatsApp line on 0206 583 547. The phone lines have now been activated. You can call into the show on 0302 2211409. The numbers are now on your screen: 0302 221140. You can call into the show and let us get your thoughts. But we'll take some few points, and this time around we'll look at how agricultural sector can best be enhanced based on the transport sector, because this whole discussion is quite critical. Now, the agri sector, initially we started with the railway sector, which a ministry has been created by the new government, and looking forward to having a more robust sector. But how does this play a key role? Agriculture and transportation, synchronizing both sectors.
Yes, I would say, but then also don't forget that someone also asking about the driving license issue. I would like to address that if there's time. We haven't spoken about railway in this country. If you have a good railway system, honestly speaking, it should take away the transport, the road transport, which we are suffering. And you know, agriculture is one of the highest interests which can move this country forward. We have the land, we have the people, we have all the resources that can get us what we eat and what we can export. However, this is a situation where you have maybe an orange farmer getting, ready to harvest his oranges, let me put it that way. He does, and within 2-3 days, there's no transport to take it to the right place. Do we have factories? Do we have silos? Okay, now we always rely on the road transport system to bring these farm products to town. And I mean, if it is not Kumasi, it is coming to Accra, right? What is it coming with? It is coming with trucks that have been turned. I mean, if you are following those trucks, they are so in a bad, and
very
bad condition. But then it will come to Accra, and then you ask yourself, is this what you are looking for? I believe it is now time for us to look at the railway system. If we have a railway system working, then this truck will move those agricultural products to the railway, and then it's the trains can transport them quickly to its destination. If it's for export and it needs to go to the Tema Harbour, the railway system must be looked at. It must be developed. We need 2 or 3 trucks. I mean, there was something on WhatsApp that I was looking at, and I'm sure you've seen it, the train system that automatically changes its route, and it was very interesting. I sat down and asked myself that if you bring this to Ghana, I'm sure before it changes, there'll be light off, and then there'll be a big one crash. Wow. Touch wood. Let us build our country, and I do believe that we have all the expertise it takes to make sure that we will not suffer like you and I are suffering in terms of road transport, railway transport, air, water, and so on and so forth. We need a better system.
You know, one thing that baffles me is how the East African countries, Tanzania, Rwanda, those countries have been able to connect trade together just by having a robust, well-constructed railway system. Now you can move to the capitals of Tanzania, Rwanda, Kenya just by train, not by air, and that is something amazing. In Ghana's case, should we focus on that system? I'm sure we'll get to a point where movement will be something easily done, and it will be quite effective, productively, looking at the time frame with which we can do businesses amongst ourselves. Now, let me take some messages that have come through the WhatsApp line. One says, I went to the license office for the renewal and many things came in. One, it says, my real title I was told is no more in use. B, it says, I was given a period of 2 months, but the 2 months tends to be 5 months. Will be 5 months now. Will my time of renewal be extended? This is from Anthony and Takrady asking this question. I'm really not getting the fact right.
I think I know what he's talking about.
Okay.
Right, he applied for the license, and then they gave him a cover note. Okay, now, the cover note is still a driving license.
Okay.
What matters is that if they have stamped the back of it and said he should use it for a period and then come to collect his card, right? When the period is due, he has to go back. If the card is not ready, they'll give him another date. You know, DVLA has its own problem of logistics and printing of driving license. But that driving license is valid, and the insurance company, the police will accept it. Maybe it is too bulky, but he should continue to follow the steps that this driving license must not expire. Okay, it's just an extension, right? Others have it, and they are using it. Shouldn't be any problem.
Right.
So he should just go and then follow and expire. There was a gentleman who was talking about the issue of holding the license for how many years?
20 years now. It needs to upgrade to C. That's what it's accessed.
Yeah, I find that very incredible, because it is not possible to use what he's talking about. He's been driving for 20 years.
Yeah.
The license was the yellow card, and then it changed to the red card. Now it is the world's, what should I say, that is what is acceptable all over the world. But it's a card. I didn't bring mine. I will have, had viewers at, attention to look at it. However, what he's talking about is not in the system, because the license that we are using, the biometric license that we are using, is not even more than 10 years. It was introduced during President Kufuor's time, and how many years now? 8 to 10 years.
Yes.
Right. And the law says that that license must be used up to 6 years, and after 6 years, you will go back to DVLA, and they will check everything, including your biometrics, and then give you the same card, and that same card should last for 6 years. So what he's talking about doesn't really, hold water.
I'm sure he's with the old system.
He's using the old, so he should go back and then do the right thing. And that's why they're asking him that license is null and void. They gave a lot of, grace period that people must bring their license for them to change it. He has not.
So
been.
what he's asking whether he should still go to the relearning process.
Yes, he has to.
Okay.
He has to, because he had all the opportunity to change his license. He didn't. So the yellow license, the red license are all null and void. So he has to go to the driving school and do 18 theory lessons, and then do practical lessons for his test. Okay, and DVLA will do all the tests and then give him the valid driving license. So if he's driving right now, then
yes, that is a serious.
Then he should be arrested.
That is case. So I suggest that you go back to the right appropriate authorities and just get yourself a new driving license. That is the right thing to do for your life, and we always cherish your life. And this is from Eric Nyasibia in Volta region at KJB. He says, please, I want to know what is the duty of the police at the barrier and alongside the patrolling team. How many police barriers are we supposed to have in one district? This is a very interesting question there. All right. So he's asking.
Well, honestly, this is really above me. It's a security issue. The police, what I can only advise you, the police has got every right to set up a barrier. depending on information, security information that they have had. And if the police is saying it's going to check your vehicle, check whatever is in it, they have the right, they have the protection of the state backing them to do that.
Indeed. Viewers, you're watching us live on Policy. That's my guest this evening is Mr. Cecil Garbrah. He's a transport consultant taking us through the remix of road transportation in Ghana, the policy regulations, the right thing to do, all the things that are critical to ensuring that we have safety, we have the appropriate road systems and the right systems to get things running in this country, and how best is facilitating trade and commerce in this nation is what we're looking forward to. So if you're watching us and you have some questions and you want to add to the show, let us get it right here. You can call into the show on 0302 2211409, 0202 2211409. Let us get your thoughts, and we'll be taking your questions also on the show. Like we always say, for God and country. To our viewers on Facebook as well, you can also call us and let us get your thought moving through as well. But you know, the very next issue I'm sure you are quite familiar with has to do with the Okada riders. It became quite topical some time back whether that business should be banned. What is the state of the Okada system? Nigeria is very dominant, accepted, but in Ghana, it seems to be quite new to our dispensation. So, can you take us through the onslaught of Okada? Everywhere you pass now, it seems to have taken over the whole transport system.
It is an offense. It is an offense to operate the Okada system. The LI 2180 has specified it that motorbikes cannot be used for commercial purposes. Tricycles cannot be used to lift up human beings. They can only be used for goods. Okay. I remember somewhere 3-4 months ago when the former President Mahama was available. He went up the north, he had to ride one and then cut a sword to say that, I mean, this is the commercial. That is wrong. And I'm surprised nobody has taken that up, right? Tricycles, motorbikes cannot be used for commercial purposes. I remember I was on set with a police officer and I said, look here, in Ghana, whatever it is, you guys, that's the police, cannot stop this Okada business. It is all over. People are using it. You go to people's office, they have Okada phone numbers that they will call, and within a short period of time, they will be there. Okay. I'll give you a good example. Some 4 or 5 years, I was supposed to go for a meeting at Coca-Cola from my office at La. And then I had, I'll say, the approved Okada, which means that in my office we had employed someone who would, do delivery for us,
okay,
in terms of letters, and in terms of banking. And then this was a motorbike, a Honda 125, had 2 helmets, but he wasn't an Okada. I had to go for a meeting on the spin test at, to be precise, Coca-Cola. And I'm looking at the time and looking at traffic. It wasn't possible for me to go by the vehicle. Look, I sat on this motorbike, okay, and within a short period of time, my rider was there. I went for the meeting. When they were seeing me off, I just cracked the joke that, oh, I'm waiting for my driver, so you leave me here. But then I went on the, Okada. Official Okada. Right. Now, the law says you cannot do it. So, at the moment, it's against it. Maybe in future, the law could be looked at. But again, countries like Togo, Nigeria, that have got the Okada are experiencing a lot of problems, such as high rate of accidents, such as stealing, and therefore, it is not road safety compliant. I mean, if you look at it from that area, a lot of people are dying on the Okada motorbikes that are not being announced. So it needs to be stopped. Once it's a law, it needs to be stopped.
But
If-
there's this argument that goes with it that because of the unemployment rate, and this is kind of creating job and is feeding families, is taking care of certain class of people in the society, and therefore scrapping it off will be against morality and against humanity in a way. But what do you say to that effect as well?
At the moment, it's a law. We need to abide with the laws of the country. It's an offense to run an Okada business. Well, I've heard a lot of stories that most of the motorbikes are being owned by policemen and militarymen. If you arrest them today, tomorrow, they are on road. I don't know how far that is true. But it's an offense. The LI 2180 is saying you must not do it, and therefore that is what is governing us at the moment. We must not do it. If the parliamentarians have agreed to look at that law again, I am sure they are going to put in measures. But however, I am rather advocating that many people should rather learn how to ride a motorcycle, buy one, and that is much more, easier, quicker in terms of transportation than going to make a long queue to sit in a trotro or standing by the roadside to pick a taxi.
What makes the difference between your new terminology, official Okada, and commercial and Okada itself?
Oh, what I just mean is that your company can purchase a motorbike, employ a rider, okay? And then the use of the rider is maybe to do banking and so on. But then occasionally, a staff will say, my rider, I'm going for this meeting and there's traffic there. That is no offense. That is not for commercial purposes. It's for the company. And therefore, if the insurance policy on the motorbike that the pinion rider is covered and so on, I don't think there's anything with it.
With
But
dominant areas, for instance, like in the north region, this particular means of transportation is quite dominant in those places. Looking at the diversification of regionally, north and south, we realize that because of the onslaught of activities in the south, predominantly we see cars, but in the north, most of them are motor vehicles. So would that law be quite appropriate being applied in those areas as well?
Well, I see where you're coming from, but laws are laws. Laws are made to govern us, and therefore the laws must stretch to all those places. And what are we looking at? It's road safety, just to make sure that people do not crash. If you look at the statistics of 2015, a lot of people died in motor riding accidents. Okay, and I remember one scene that I saw on Accra streets, and then honestly, I said to myself, I'll never ride a motorbike again. This guy was speeding and then veered off the road and crashed his head on a tree. The head was, divided into two. May so rest in peace. But is that what we are looking at? Right? It is wrong. It's against the regulations, and therefore we must stop supporting it till there's new. What the MPs will sit down and then draft a new law, which maybe will give the go-ahead for them to use it, and of course it will come with a lot of modalities in place.
All right. Now we've said the point right. Motorbike riding for commercial purposes is illegal in Ghana. But what of instances where you see people performing stunts with motorcycles on the street dangerously? Sometimes during festivities, you see these young guys or motor riders just doing some dangerous stunts on the street. And this time around, for purposes of entertainment, what do you say to that effect?
It's all against the regulations. I mean, for road safety purposes, we don't encourage it. They do it, and if there's any failure, that is death. I would advise all those stunts, riders and so on to desist from it and rather have a good ride with riding with appropriate gears. I'm talking about the helmet and then the vest and so on. That will keep you to be a very good rider than performing stunts, which is a 50-50 back to my grave issue.
back to my grave. But we pray that that shouldn't come to light. Like we always say, information gives you key. The key gives you a chance to life, and that is open doors. So this time around, we are advising that most of the things that you've listened or heard this evening, you should take it into consideration. If you value your life, we value your life. That is why we made time to bring the expert to enlighten us on the proper things to be done in ensuring Ghana's our lives are taken into consideration. This and many more issues we discuss this evening right here on Policy Day. If you're watching us, you can take your messages through the WhatsApp line on 0206 583 547, and the phone lines is also active. You can also call into the show on 0302 221140. Now we can take your thoughts as well. But let's take some final comments before we bring the curtain down on the show. So, Mr. Cecil Ebo Garbrah, we've spoken at length. You've enlightened us and taught us a lot of things about our nature of roads, the systems and financing of road projects. But what do you look forward to this year, and also from the government's perspective towards ensuring that we have a well synchronized mixture of transportation, taking into consideration the railway, the road networks, and also the aviation industry, basically?
Good road network.
Yes.
Also looking forward to see the railway system working where not only Accra to Paga, but then the eastern and western corridors must also enjoy the railway system, all because we would want to reduce the pressure on our roads. I will be very happy.
Yes, I think, I'm not cutting you, but I'll come back to you shortly. We have a caller on the line who would like to share his opinion. Good evening, please. Your name and location.
Hello?
Yes, you're live on Policy Dex. Your name and location,
Hello?
please. Yes, you're live. Can you hear me?
Hello, good evening.
Hey, evening, sir. Please, your name and location.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. You're live. Kindly make a submission, sir.
Hello?
Yes, I can hear
Hello,
you.
good evening.
Evening. Speak up, sir.
Hello?
Okay.
Good evening.
Evening, can you hear me?
Yeah, Ernest from Pandu.
Okay, you can make your comment, sir. You can-
Hello?
Ernest, can you hear me? All right. Unfortunately, Ernest, we're having some challenges with that, but that happens to be it. I think yes. The next time we activate the phone lines on time for you to also contribute to the discussion. But unfortunately, the show is really coming to an end, and we've spoken of them. So if you follow the discussion, you can also send your messages to me, and I'll be following up with you to all the various questions you want, and I will definitely forward them to Mr. Cecil, and he'll take us through an awesome conversation from that perspective there. So as you were saying, Cecil.
Yes, so good railway system that will ease the pressure on our roads. I mean, once we have a good railway system to carry goods and services, I do believe the pressure on our roads will be decreased. I'm also looking forward for this government to have good segregated roads for the bus rapid transit system to take its full effect, where it should be running on major roads, on segregated roads, as I'm saying, that we will all patronize. I also believe that in the air, we'll have many more airlines joining what we have to have a very good competitive nature in terms of airfares.
Okay.
And
Okay, briefly, I think a caller wants to really ask a last question.
Okay.
That happens to be our final caller. Good evening, please. Hello?
Hello, good evening.
Yes, please, your name and location. Yeah, good evening. You're live on Policy Dex. Hello?
Hello, I am Mr. Edu, calling from Garbrah.
Okay, please, you can make your submission.
Yes, I would like to congratulate the speaker. He has been very, very, very good, very articulate on the point. And secondly, I want to ask, where will I get the airline by?
Okay.
That is what I want to ask for now. Thank you.
Thank you so much for calling, and we are most grateful for you being an ardent viewer of the show. All right, so this is a very
many
serious
thanks,
question.
many thanks, and it's all a learning procedure. I've been doing this for the past 20 years, and therefore I've been involved in many policies that have been made in the transport sector, especially in coming up of the LI 2180. You can easily get it at the publishing company, okay? It's there, you see, but then this is one sad thing. And then I borrow the words of the European who will say that if you want to hide anything from the black, write it. We don't like reading in this country. This book is available when you go to the Ghana Publishing Corporation or company or so. It is there. But then I don't know whether there is an e-copy. I haven't checked it, but all this must be made available where computer users can pay a token to download a very important document like the legislative instrument on which talks about road traffic regulations. It's really something which every driver, every pedestrian must read. Okay, so that it will ease this pressure of the police or law enforcers trying to bamboozle you on issues which you already know to be a fact.
So I'm sure as you're watching us as well, you can also visit my page on Winston Taki on Facebook, Winston Taki, and just send me your email. We'll definitely find a way of getting you a soft copy of the LI, so that at least it will help us stay informed always on what needs to be done or what does not need to be done, what we don't have to do on our roads to ensure that our lives and property are always safe. We do the right things at the right time for the right purposes. So, all right. So that will be it for the case for the caller. But you've been mentioning of we're looking forward for a more robust transport sector that has to do with the trams system. You're looking forward to that. But what else this year should we expect from the government?
Well, reduction of road crashes is what we are looking for. Okay, I think the government must be very serious in enforcement issue of this country. You remember I mentioned the 4 technical E's. Enforcement is weak. I pray and hope that the government will look at beefing up training of more motor traffic police to be in the system to handle the issues on drivers who are so recalcitrant. As I mean, if it's possible, like I'm saying, that so many years ago when we had armed robbers in this country trying to, invade our homes and so on, we had a military support and it worked. So I am making a humble request that the red cap military policemen must argument what we have with the Ghana police in curbing road traffic, what's menace in terms of many drivers flouting the road regulations. People are talking on the mobile phone and they feel it's something that they have to do. People are driving and then misbehaving. I'm also praying that we'll have a better system in terms of engineering of our roads, and we'll have road markings everywhere. That's one major thing that I'm looking at that the government must do for us, that we should not sole source, but this time look at competitive bidding where companies must come up with their samples on road markings. You look at the road markings today, it's painted, tomorrow it is faded. But the monies are being paid, and they are very expensive paints that must be used, and the right paint must be used. It must not be mixed. It should be shiny in the evening. It should support us. You are traveling from here, driving towards like Akosombo, you get to somewhere like Afienya, and the road markings are not there. And that is causing a lot of accidents in the evening because you will not know where to drive. If it is cat eyes, the right cat eye must be imported, and then Ghana Standard Authority must be up and doing to check and make sure that we have the right materials to construct the road network of our country, so that it will save lives, it will save properties, and Ghanaians can enjoy on driving on very good roads
Indeed.
in this country.
Before we go, I think let me just take this moment to address this last question from one of our callers. He says, please, can we have private number plate for the motorbike if possible? Because the police include all of us as Okada men, whether you are using it privately. My name is Eric Nyosibia on the Volta region. This is the last question, possibly.
There's a DVLA Act, and then DVLA Act must be looked at by Parliament. DVLA's change in coming up to say that you need private numbers may be possible if the Act supports it. But if you really want very, very private, like John 1 or Kwesi 2 and so on, that can be done. However, what I would advise my friend is that he should keep to his number plates now by law, and then make sure that he has the valid driving riding license, which is A for motorbikes, and make sure that he has a roadworthy sticker. Normally on motorbikes you don't put a sticker, but then it should be in the glove compartment, that when the police is asking you, you bring it out for him to know that you are not an Okada. But then as far as I'm concerned, the police can stop and check all this. You don't believe that we have people who are driving in this country, you and I, and we don't have the valid driving license.
Indeed.
And it's also a worry to me, because I get a lot of phone calls saying, Mr. Garbrah, I don't have a license and I've been driving for the past 20 years, and how can I achieve, how can I get a driving license, acquire a driving license? But if you tell them the procedure is quite discouraging, but then that says the law that you must get to an accredited driving school to do at least 18 theory lessons in driving, and then go through a road test examination, and go through a real examination. You should get at least 21/30 in your marks that you, during your examination, which is 75%. And it's not a joking fact. So you need to learn and pass your exams very well. After all, what are we looking at? Road safety is what we are looking at. Lesser crash and much more effective of, enjoying your driving, which I'll say that we should all drive and arrive in one piece and not in pieces.
Thank you so much, Mr. Cecil Garbrah, for really making time. It's really been a pleasure having you on the show. Like we always say, we are most privileged, and thank you for making time. For God and country, we say thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you, too.
Viewers, I'm sure you enjoyed tonight's show. My guest this evening has been Mr. Cecil Garbrah, a transport consultant. If you have any more questions and any more you want to get in touch with him, you can just visit my page on Winston Taki on Facebook. Just send me a message and I'll definitely connect you with him. Then definitely also all questions and thoughts can also be shared on our page on Business Television Africa on Facebook, and let's get interactive more. The VTA Policy Desk comes to you live on VTA on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So don't miss the next edition, which is coming to you on Wednesday. It's going to be as awesome as always. We bring you experts to discuss critical issues of national importance. So if you want to learn more, if you want to be informed more, the show to watch is Policy Desk. My name is Winston Taki. Thanks for watching. Do enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye-bye. Is it really the case that new regime means new laws, new policies and new people to manage Ghana's economy? Are you satisfied with the way policies and laws are being implemented in the country? Well, no need to worry, as Policy Desk fills you in with socio-economic and political issues that needs attention to drive Ghana's developmental agenda. My name is Winston Taki.